Math is great, math is okay. You will need in life every day. From pandas to functions, to fractions, to formulas.
Okay, so in class, we asked you to do the purple to draw the three characteristics. We did A is less than 1, so it points down. 2 real roots is the highlighted yellows. And then a degree polynomial of 2 is just quadratic going upside down. So then we talked about how you can make up a number. So a root is x comma 0. So if you make up a number for this one, we just said something like -4. That means -4 comma 0 is your order pairs. X is -4 and your y is 0. And that's the reason why they call them zeros. So let's highlight that. Right, the 0 is going to look like this one. Okay, that is a 0. And what they're going to give you, though, is to each factor. So that's a factor. This is a factor. Okay, so as you go through these problems, if you have, in this case, again, anything that has x equals, that is a 0 in blue there. And then if you have the variable with a number on one side and it's equal to 0, you can put parentheses around it. That is your factor.
So I have a 0. I need to make this equal to 0. So I want it to be on this side, basically 0. So what do? How do I move that over? You're going to subtract 2. If I subtract 2, what do I get, class? X minus 2 equals 0. And there it tells you to write the factor. Well, the factor is x minus 2. Remember, it's just like you did when I gave you a quadratics and I told you to factor and use Xbox, and then this is one of your answers, right? Let's try the number 2. How do I turn this 0 into a factor? Class, what do we have to do? Read this to me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So what do? I'm going to add 7. And that equals x plus 7 equals 0. Class, what do I do for this one? How do I make this a factor? You want to put a 1 under it? Where? But remember, what's the opposite of a negative? All I have to do is add 75. Class, what do you get? X plus 75 equals 0. Your factor is x plus 75. Raise your hand if you got that. Write the factor that corresponds to each 0. So, just like the previous problem, we were supposed to get zeros, so this is a 0. This is also a 0. That is a 0. We basically need to get it to be a factor. Well, in the previous problem, we showed you that a factor has those parentheses, right? And in some ways, I kind of have to make it kind of same. I'm still going to set it equal to 0. I need to get it to be where it's equal to 0, right? So basically, I have to move that away, okay? So, the question is, how do I do that? Well, I want this side to equal 0. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to undo everything we kind of did in the previous problem. Class, what math operation do we see here? Division. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm doing PEMDAS backwards. I see no addition or subtraction. So now I'm going to do multiplication and division. I'm going to multiply this by 3. multiply by 3. I get 3x equals 2. In class, how do I get the 2 on the other side? We're going to now subtract. So this is going to read 3x minus 2 equals 0. So there's my factor. My factor is 3x minus 2. So what did I do in that problem? Basically, I'm making the right side equal to 0. How did I do that? You're going to undo the operations, or the opposite, so multiply, then subtract, and now it's set equal to 0. Alright, it tells us to write the factor that corresponds to each of these are called zeros. We just saw that in the previous problem, right? This is already a 0. It's already crossing in a graph at negative 3/8. Okay? They want us to write the factor. Remember what the factor looked like in the previous problem. The factor is with parentheses. So I call this one, our goal is to make equal to 0. To make a 0 a factor, our goal is to make it equal to 0. Let's do question number 5. Basically, I want the right side to be made equal to 0. Class, how do I get rid of all that stuff? One way of doing that, how do you get rid of the 8? We're going to multiply both sides by 8. Now, I also like to draw a line down my equal side to separate the left and the right side. See if I can zoom in for you. Class, how do you make the 8 on the right side a fraction? Over 1. Class, what's on the left side? You have 8 times x. Class, what's 3 times 8? 8 times 1. 24 divided by 8. Look what I'm doing here. That's also canceling. You're left with a 3. In this case, it's a negative 3. Tony, what is 3 times 8? 8 times 1? 24 divided by 8. 3. 3. Or, another way of saying that is these 8's cancel, and you're left with just the 3. Yes. Class, what's next? How do I make sure that's equal to 0? We're going to add 3 now. Class, does that become 11x? What is this over here? And that's what I wanted. The problem tells us write the factor. Here is my factor because it's set equal to 0. Let's do one more. Let's do question number 6. Partner A, tell partner B, what's the first thing you're going to do? Question number 6, tell your partner, what do you do first? Show me with your fingers what number we're going to multiply both sides by.
4.
Thank you for showing me your fingers. Class, 4 times x is? 4x. 5 times 4 is? 20 divided by 4 is 5. Or you can just cancel the 5s. In class, how do you get rid of that 5? Subtract. 4x minus 5 equals 0. Let me show you guys one more way of doing the same problem, and you can kind of choose which one made more sense to you, okay? Let me show you guys the same problem in a different way. I'm going to subtract 5/4 from both sides. This would read now 5/4 minus 5/4 is 0, and x minus 5/4. Now this would be unacceptable as a linear factor, so to eliminate that fraction, I'm going to have to multiply by 4. Look what happens. Class 4 times x is 4 times negative 5/4. Positive times a negative is negative. 4 over 1 is 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. And 0 times 4 is 0. So here I've shown actually 2 different ways to find the factor, and you can choose one of those methods.
Missing formulas in life? Problems becoming too difficult to clear? Well then, you need Mr. Math Cleaning Solution. Just spray the liquid formula onto the mess, then wipe it clear, and enjoy the result. Mr. Math. Stay clean and calculated. Order now at www.gpproductions.com and get an additional